Hey everyone, welcome back to Catching Up with the Walkers. Thank you guys so much for stopping by on this start to our work week. Most of you probably already went to work yesterday, but we're getting our work week started because we went on a special trip to the farm on Route 66.
And looky there, we've got matching hats on, and Gary can't do nothing about it.
Let me see if I can change my hat real quick. I'm sporting my new hat. I'm the kind of guy that likes to keep one nice hat to wear to nice events and stuff. And my old farm on Route 66 hat was getting a couple sweat stains. So this thing, I'm probably going to put it up on the shelf and save it for going live with you guys. Or not live, but catching up. So,
Pinch poke, you owe me a Coke. You keep doing that. It was an amazing weekend. It was a long weekend. It was an amazing weekend. We spent all day in the car yesterday, but here we are.
Yes, so we wanted to get on here, probably not real long, but spend a little bit of time with you guys to catch up before we get our week started and cover any prayer requests and things like that. But as far as our trip to the farm on Route 66, it was beyond our expectations. We had a great time, and I think we probably covered most of that in our videos coming up. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to talk about a couple things that we didn't necessarily cover in our videos.
Yes, but some things that came out of those videos.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be a hot topic as soon as people start watching those videos.
Yeah.
It already is on Instagram and Facebook if you watch my stories because I posted it on there. So.
Thing number one. Will Walker Farm Fam be getting horses? That's going to be the biggest topic of discussion to come out of this weekend, because when you see the video with Mazzy and how she had some certain person help her get started on this horse, we'll just say that Mazzy had the best time on one of those horses from the Navajo reservation. Now, I don't know if that one was the one that she rode.
I'm not sure, but it's 100% not for sale, so we got to do something else. But also, I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll try to remember.
So, Mazzy, as you guys know.
Oh, I'm sorry. If I don't say it, I'll forget.
Oh, go ahead.
If we don't get her a horse, then everyone's going to say we're horrible parents.
Sign me up. I'll be a horrible parent. Society likes to judge people anyway, and 98% of the time they're wrong, and 1% of the time they're way off. So
this would be it.
That would be it.
Okay. But like Gary was saying, if you know Mazzy, you know she gets very nervous and anxious. She's afraid of new things. She has ridden a horse before. We used to have horses, and when she was little, she's rode them lead line and things. But as far as getting on one and just taking off, she hasn't done that, and she hasn't done it in a very long time, being on a horse, but especially by herself.
Yeah, and when we started to go on this trip, there really wasn't anything that was drawing Mazzy to go on this vacation. She was actually talking about trying to stay with Grandma, imagine that, instead of going on the trip. And I told her that wasn't an option. It was a family trip.
Yes.
But once she got there and once she got to meet a little girl or two her age or close to her age.
Well, and that was her thing. No one's my age, which Casey did an amazing job.
Oh, yeah.
Blake too, but especially Casey did an amazing job with Mazzy, playing with her and doing some arts and crafts and things like that. Mazzy loved it. So she's very glad she went, especially after meeting some other little girls her age and getting to ride a horse. Yeah,
that's the moment. The getting to ride a horse was the moment. It was a 180-degree turn. Mazzy was over the moon about that horse. And whenever we came home, on the way home, she came up with about 120 different horse names. So she picked the colors first. What if I got a white horse? What if I got a brown horse?
And then what if it's a boy? What if it's a girl?
Yeah. Then
and she went through the gender, the colors, her and Ranger, and then whoever else would participate. We threw out some, came up with 3 names each, and then they went back and they narrowed them down.
Yeah. So Mazzy thinks she's getting a horse in her head. So here's the question. Is Walker Farm Fam getting a horse?
Well, Walker Farm Fam already has some horses, but they just don't live here.
Exactly. So the answer is twofold, yes and no. So we do not plan on bringing a horse to our place tomorrow by any means. But at Cassie's parents' house, there are already a couple of horses that we can start working with. Back at our neighbor's house, there's a couple of horses that are really convenient when they have them saddled up, or if we wanted to go over, I'm sure they wouldn't mind us doing some stuff with their horses. So if Mazzie's interest continues,
Yes.
and she still likes the idea of a horse, say in 30 days or 60 days, we might actually start thinking about the idea of getting a horse on our farm. But even then, Cassie's dad's is really set up for it really well.
Yes.
He's got a horse barn with multiple pens. So,
But also, you don't find a horse like Chipper, the horse that Mazzie rode, overnight.
no.
I looked, since she rode and was excited, I've been looking. I've found a few that say they're good horses, but you don't just find a horse like that overnight. And if we just go out and buy any old horse for $50, it ain't gonna work out. So if Mazzie gets on a horse and it does anything scary, nervous, exciting, she's gonna be done.
Yeah.
So we want this to be a positive thing if she chooses that and says she still wants a horse down the road, and we were gonna find her the best horse that we can in our budget because they aren't cheap, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. So just for the record, I'm not against horses completely.
As much as I like to say he is.
I'm like halfway against horses. No, we've had them before, so I know everything that's involved. And if the right time comes, the right horse comes, a horse could just be coming to Walker Farm. So a horse was thing number one, but thing number two that we didn't really expect out of this trip, it kind of caught us off guard because we have never answered a question like this before. So I'll ask you guys, and you can answer it down in the comments.
You can't Google it.
Don't Google it. You have to know it. Like, we were asked this question as if we would know the answer, like
the back of our hand.
Yeah, like our address. Like we learn our address, P.O. Box 62, Locust.
That's not even our address.
That's why I said it. Oh, no, we give out that address, don't we?
But if you say that, then people send stuff to it.
Sorry.
That is not our address.
P.O. Box 1568.
That is not our address either.
So some things in life you should know.
That's because it's not our everyday address.
Do we want to give them our
It's our
P.O. Box?
YouTube address, I guess.
Do you want to give them our P.O. Box?
Gary apparently doesn't know it. Our P.O. Box is in the description, but it's, oh gosh, don't start this laughing thing. P.O. Box 1586?
Yes, 1586. I had it close, 1568.
I know, and then you confused me.
Across those
Locust
back
Grove.
two numbers. I'm
Anyway,
dyslexic.
go on with what you're saying.
So, there are some things that when somebody asks you, you should know, and people should expect you to know. Your address might be one of those. It could be, it could not. It just depends. Technology changes it these days. So, has anybody ever asked you this question? And like I said, you can leave the answer down in the comments if you know the answer. What's your elevation? So what's your elevation?
Without Googling it, because that's what we had to do.
Yeah. So and I noticed signs when we were driving out there, elevation 8,000 feet, elevation, 11,000 feet.
Was it that much?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's exactly that much. Just an example. Like we were going over pretty big, mountains, whatever, hills. But out there in the west, when you go out there, you'll notice as you drive, at some point, there are no trees. And that's like a scary thing to me because I love trees, apparently. The more I was out there, the more I missed them.
Yeah.
But at a certain elevation, trees don't grow. And so it affects how everything grows. So it affects how your vegetables grow, how quick your growing season. Elevation affects it. Positive, negative, I don't know all the details. But out there, whenever we met a new person, like a new family, John from the Tin Barn Farm, which we absolutely love their family.
Yes.
If you guys haven't, go check out the Tin Barn Farm on YouTube. They asked, one of the first questions was, so what's your elevation in Oklahoma? And I was like, we live above the dam. We don't know the answer.
And then,
we're not going to flood. I can tell you that much.
And then Hume's Little Homestead, one of her first questions was, what's your elevation? And Tim Barn Farm and I started dying laughing because we'd had the conversation the day before, and her and I, neither one knew what ours was, what each other's were. You're like, I didn't know mine, she didn't know hers. But so we started dying laughing, and I was like, we had to Google it. And Hume's Little Homestead's husband said, That's because you're flat. Why would you know it?
Yeah. So our elevation, just so you know, here in this area is about 680 feet. I just Googled a common address, a town address. And so we're around between 600 and 700 feet. Apparently we're really low. Also, they were talking about how that impacts the coldness. So the lower you are when it's cold, it feels colder and a lot sharper.
Well, I was telling them, I looked at my watch and I forget what it said it was, like 58 or 60 or something. And I was like, I didn't have on my hoodie. And I was like, I feel like if I was at home and my watch said that, I would need a hoodie on and maybe even a coat.
Yeah, for sure, because it just like bites into you. So that was something that we did not expect when we were planning our trip and headed out to Arizona, was that we needed to know our elevation. So if you're planning a trip out there anytime soon, do a quick Google search so you don't look like us.
Yeah. And what is your elevation? Do you have to Google it, or do you automatically know it? And why do you know it? Why do you know these things?
And if you do know it, like I said, leave it down there. And if you had to Google it, you can say Googled and then put your elevation. But we're interested, maybe your location as well, and how it impacts you and where you're at. So those are just a couple of things that we weren't really completely prepared for when we went to Arizona. But now you know, now we know, and we'll be more ready for our next trip.
Well, and I figured Mazzy would like the horses, like petting them, but I didn't know that she was going to want to ride over and over and over. Like, she literally rode over and over and over, and we had to tell her, that's enough, we're going to go do something else. And then she asked Sunday morning, can I go ride before we leave? But there just wasn't time.
No, we had to cut her off at some point, but it was an amazing trip.
Yes.
So as far as catching up with the walkers and what we've been up to, if you've been following this channel or our other one, we went live, I think at both points on our trip. At some point we went live. So we've been traveling. So we took our kids, our luggage, piled it into the Honda minivan, went about 1,000 miles out there, and about the same coming back. So it was almost a 2,000-mile round trip. We did that. We traveled 2 days at a time. So 2 days out, and then we stayed 2 nights, and then 2 days back of traveling. We stayed 1 night of traveling. So it was a quick trip. We didn't get to see a ton, but we got to see, and we already shared this video, Blue Hole at Santa Rosa, New Mexico. And our next video we put out was the first day kind of us being at the farm on Route 66. We got to go watch Blake's football game.
Sorry, I couldn't hold it any longer.
That's okay. And we got to also go, after Blake's football game, we got to go to a canyon and see Rock
Art Ranch.
Rock Art Ranch. And it was a really cool experience. And we're very thankful to the farm on Route 66 for all of that. So that's everything we've done to this point. What do we got coming up?
We have an awesome day on their farm of some special rodeo events. You'll see Mazzy and Ransom on the horse. You'll see Ranger wrestling some goats and catching a chicken, and just having an awesome time with the friends they got to meet and us as well. So we were fed an awesome meal that night too, but I don't know if we videoed that. Did you?
I may have videoed a little bit of everybody kind of hanging out.
Stuff.
When we start editing that, we'll know for sure. Yeah. But it was an awesome meal, and just the awesome fellowship we had with
we sat around
other families.
And got to talk a lot. So it was great.
No, that's Cassie's specialty, right?
I mean, got a degree in it.
Talking. So that's.
Well, my mom used to go to parent-teacher conference. They'd always say, Cassie's a really good girl. She's a really good student, but she just talks too much.
And we'll also have a video coming up when Cassie wasn't talking, but she was screaming because our first day back on the farm, there was a little
tragedy struck.
Surprise, and that will probably be a video late this week. Like,
I'm gonna go to the doctor tomorrow to get my heart checked.
Yeah, you want to stay tuned for that. But
why do you have to remind me of that?
As far as praying goes, and after we went live on Walker Farm Fam, we showed some wreckage from a bad car wreck, semi wreck on I-40, and a life flight had to come in and land and take back off So we said prayer for them, but we want to continue and ask that you continue to pray for whoever it was. We don't know who it was involved in that.
At least 2 semis, if not more, and maybe even more cars.
Yeah, it was just an all-around bad deal, but we just ask that God's hand is over them and their healing, and that they get a quick recovery. Also, while we were gone, my great uncle Hoy passed away. He was 99 years old. He would have been 100 years old in December. So just say a prayer, if you would, for the family as they just mourn over the next couple days and through the funeral. But he was a veteran. He lived a very full life. He was quite the horse trader, cattle trader. Anytime I grew up,
any kind of animal trader.
I have fond memories of anytime I seen him. He had stock racks on the back of his Chevy pickup, and he was always had some animal in there. He was going and coming, always trading something. So it was my great uncle Hoy, though, and if you guys would just say a prayer for that.
Yeah, so if you guys have prayer requests or things you'd like to mention, and even praise items, just put them down in the comments below. We enjoy reading through those, and it's an honor and a privilege for us to be able to pray for you and pray with you. And you guys also encourage one another down there as well, and we just truly appreciate that.
Yes, we do. And we want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend a little bit of time with us. And if you haven't, if you would hit that subscribe button down at the bottom of the screen.
Yep.
All right, down at the bottom. Ring that bell.
Have you ever been on YouTube?
I on my phone, I don't know where it's at in comparison to the computer.
Oh.
So is it always in the bottom?
Yeah.
So wherever it's at on the screen, if you ring that, hit that subscribe bell, or hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell for notifications. I'm horrible at this. Then you'll make sure and you won't miss a video. And we do appreciate it, though, because we're about to hit 5,000 subscribers on this little Catching Up with Cassie and Gary channel.
We hope you guys enjoyed this. We hope you have an amazing day, an awesome week. We'll see you next time. Love you guys. God bless.